Okay, so the story of Dumble, something like the Dumble ODS started, apparently the inspiration for it was with Robin Ford doing a gig that Alexander Howard Dumble attended, where Robin was using a bassman and a tube screamer. That's what this video is building this tone for. I'm going to be using the Fractal FM9, but you could do this on basically any modeler. I'd suggest starting with a bassman, tube screamer, Zen drive. So if you've got, something else, a JTM 45 is pretty close to a bassman as well. So there are lots of ways to skin this cat. Feel free to like and subscribe. You'll be able to use the Buy Me a Coffee link to get the fractal tones if you want them. But let's just jump in. Okay, I'm going to start, I think, at the first drive section. So I'm going to be using the Zen drive. This is something that Robin Ford uses now, but I think the initial kind of principle of the Zen drive was something like a tube screamer, but slightly modded. I'm going to use the drive at 2.3, the voice all the way off at 0, and the tone at 4.44, the level at 4. Okay, so put those settings into whatever model you're using. Then that is stacked into a tube screamer. Now the tube screamer, as I said, was part of Robin's rig. Apparently the fateful night that Alexander Howard Dumble stumbled into a Robin Ford gig and heard this tone. So the drive is 5.3, tone is 6.5, and the level is 6.7. Two kind of tube screamer-ish drives stacked in front of a 59 bassman. So the bassman circuit is actually quite important, the Fender bassman. It was also very similar to the Marshall JTM 45. I think they cloned that. The Mesa Boogie Mark 1 was built from a bassman circuit as well. You could use different options in this regard to get a similar kind of result. So JTM 45, a Mesa Boogie clean channel, those kind of things might be a good starting point too. Drive at 6.1, bright switch off, bass at 6, mids at 5, treble at 6, and our presence down at 2.6. Relatively straightforward. Now I've also used the ODS 100 Ford here, so you could use this as well as a clean channel. Robin Ford these days I think tends to gig with the clean channel of his Dumble. I don't think he uses the drive channel too much. Drive at 5, bright switch off, bass at 6.46, mids at 6.51, treble at 6.59. Give that a try. And then cab wise, so I've decided to use a 4x10 bassman cab, which we have quite a few options for in the Fractal world. I'm using Bank 2, Factory 2, number 201, so the 4x10 bass guy with a ribbon mic. Pan that one fully left and set your high slope to 6 dB per octave and the high cut at 5501.3. So this is going to kind of smooth the tone out a bit, and just that top end then stay nice and smooth and not fizzy. The other cab I'm using is the 4x10 bass guy B plus G R&R B3 VH factory cab 208. We're panning that fully right. The same high cut settings, so 6 dB per octave, 5501.3. Go to the delay. I'm using the worn tape and I've got it set to 130 milliseconds for like basically a slapback, and the mix at 19%. I'm using the large plate for some kind of big reverb-ish sounds, so 2.4 seconds, mix at 20%. And I think that's all I've got going on. So for the FM9 I would blend these two. So we've got a bassman and a Dumble clean channel. Really straightforward and really juicy tones. The other thing that I did was this preset, which will work for the FM3. So if I put this to channel 3, I want to keep everything the same. The only difference is that I'm going to set the amp B to be the Robin Ford clean, and the settings I believe was something like 6.4, 6.4, 6.4, and maybe drive up to about 5. Give that a try. Let me know if you like those settings. As I say, if you're using another modeler, you'll be able to get similar results. I think if you're using either the Fender bassman or the JTM 45 or something like a Mesa Boogie clean channel, I think there's lots of ways to get this sort of tone, but I think stacking tube screamer and Zen drive, that worked quite nicely for me. Feel free to like and subscribe if this was at all useful or interesting to you, and as I say, the Buy Me a Coffee will be the place to get these tones if you don't want to build them yourself, but plenty of CPU left to do other stuff if you want to. Catch you in another video soon, and cheers.
Thank you.